All right, so imagine this. Somebody hands you their phone and says, could someone be spying on me through this?
Oh, yeah.
That's what we're diving into today.
Yeah.
The unsettling world of Pegasus spyware.
Okay.
You've probably heard whispers about it, but let's
Right.
get into the nitty-gritty.
Yeah.
What is it really all about?
So Pegasus is basically the ultimate digital spy.
Hmm.
It can silently infect your phone
Wow.
and give attackers access to almost everything.
Really?
Messages, calls, even encrypted chats.
No way.
And it can even turn on your camera and microphone
Mm.
without you ever knowing.
So not just some urban legend then.
No, not at all.
We're using an academic research paper as our guide today.
Okay.
A comprehensive analysis of Pegasus spyware and its implications for digital privacy and security, published just this year.
Right.
What are some of the key takeaways you found in it?
Well, this paper is a deep dive into how Pegasus works.
Okay.
Its real-world targets and what you can do to protect yourself.
That's great.
It gets pretty technical,
Sure.
but we'll break it down into plain English.
Okay, let's unpack this. First things first.
Yeah.
What exactly can Pegasus do once it's on your phone?
Think of it this way.
Okay.
Once Pegasus is in,
Yeah.
it's like the attacker has a master key to your digital life.
Oh, wow.
They can read your texts,
Okay.
listen to your calls, even access stuff you thought was private.
Like, wow.
It's like encrypted chats.
Wait, even encrypted chats?
Yep.
I thought those were supposed to be super secure.
That's the scary part.
Right.
Pegasus can get around many encryption methods.
Oh, wow.
It can also track your location,
Okay.
see what apps you're using.
Uh-huh.
It's basically Big Brother in your pocket.
I'm already feeling a little uneasy.
Yeah.
So how does this thing even get onto your phone in the first place? Is it like those you want a free iPad scams?
Kinda,
Good,
but
yeah.
much sneakier.
In what way?
One way is phishing.
Okay.
You get tricked into clicking a malicious link.
Right?
It might look like a message from a friend or a notification from an app you use.
So I have to watch out for suspicious links.
Exactly.
Got it. Anything else?
Remember those software updates you keep hitting? Remind me later on.
Uh-oh.
Sometimes those updates are patching security holes that Pegasus could use to slip in.
Oh, really?
So procrastination can actually make you more vulnerable.
That's me told.
Yeah.
Are there any other ways it can infect your phone?
Hmm.
What if I'm careful about links and updates?
Here's where it gets even more unsettling.
Okay.
Pegasus can also be injected through your network connection,
Really?
even through public Wi-Fi at, say, your favorite coffee shop.
Wow.
You could be sipping your latte,
Uh-huh.
totally oblivious that someone is installing spyware on your phone.
Oh, gosh.
And even worse, some versions use zero-click exploits.
Meaning,
You don't even have to click anything to get infected.
hold on, avoiding suspicious links and updating my apps isn't enough.
Right.
This is starting to sound like a losing battle.
It's not about being paranoid,
Okay.
but it is about understanding the methods. This research paper dives into the technical details of the vulnerabilities Pegasus exploits.
I'm all ears.
Yeah.
What are some examples?
Well, instead of getting lost in the technical jargon,
Yeah.
the key takeaway is this.
Yeah.
These vulnerabilities exploit weaknesses in how your phone's core software, think of it like its brain,
Okay.
manages memory.
Right.
They essentially give attackers a back door to take control.
That's kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
It makes you realize how much we rely on these devices without really understanding how they work,
That's true.
right? And that's why keeping your software updated is so important.
Absolutely.
It's like reinforcing the doors and windows of your digital house,
Yeah,
making it harder for Pegasus to break in.
exactly.
So we've established that Pegasus is powerful and sneaky,
Right.
but this all feels a bit theoretical.
Hmm.
Has it actually been used against real people?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I mean, who would they even target?
Well, it's been used in the real world,
Mm-hmm.
and the targets are often people you wouldn't expect.
Like who?
One chilling example is Ahmed Mansour,
Oh, okay.
a human rights activist.
What happened to him?
Back in 2016,
Yeah.
he received a text message that seemed suspicious.
Okay.
It claimed to contain fresh revelations
Mm.
about human rights abuses, like clickbait designed to pique his interest.
That sounds pretty tempting to click on,
Right.
especially for an activist. Did he fall for it?
Luckily, he had a feeling something wasn't right.
Okay.
He was already a target of government surveillance because of his work.
I see.
Instead of clicking, he forwarded the message to Citizen Lab,
Okay.
a research group that specializes in digital security.
That was a smart move. What did they find?
They discovered the link contained a sophisticated zero-click exploit.
Oh, wow.
If he had clicked it,
Yeah.
Pegasus would have silently infected his iPhone.
Wow.
giving attackers total control.
That's really chilling.
Yeah, it is.
It makes you realize that this isn't just some abstract threat.
Right.
It's a real danger with very real consequences.
Absolutely.
And Mansour's case isn't unique.
No, it's not.
Pegasus has been used against journalists,
Right.
lawyers, even politicians all over the world.
It's a big problem.
So this isn't just some theoretical threat. It's a real danger that we need to be aware of.
Yes, definitely.
Before we get into what we can do to protect ourselves,
Okay.
are there any other high-profile cases we should know about?
Oh, yeah, there are many, unfortunately. One that stands out is the targeting of associates of Jamal Khashoggi,
Oh, yeah.
the Saudi journalist who was murdered in 2018.
Right.
Investigations revealed that several people close to him, including his fiancée,
Wow.
were targeted with Pegasus before and after his death.
It's disturbing to think that this kind of spyware could be used to silence dissent and suppress free speech.
Yeah.
And to think this software was developed by a private company? It makes you wonder about the ethics of selling such powerful tools to governments, especially those with questionable human rights records.
Absolutely.
Facebook, the parent company of WhatsApp, even sued the NSO Group, the company behind Pegasus, back in 2019. I vaguely remember hearing about that.
Yeah.
Can you refresh my memory on what that lawsuit was about?
Facebook accused NSO Group of using Pegasus to exploit a vulnerability in WhatsApp, targeting over 1,400 users,
Wow.
including journalists,
Okay.
human rights defenders, and political dissidents.
Right.
The lawsuit really highlighted the legal and ethical implications of selling spyware,
Yeah.
especially to governments with poor human rights records.
It feels like a whole can of worms.
It is.
What's even more concerning is that Pegasus is just one example of this type of surveillance technology.
Exactly.
It represents a much larger issue, a trend toward increasingly sophisticated surveillance tech. That threatens the very foundations of digital privacy and security.
It does.
So we're not just talking about protecting ourselves from this one specific spyware.
No.
We're talking about a bigger shift in the digital landscape.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that for our listener?
Imagine a world where every email you send, every website you visit, every conversation you have could potentially be monitored by someone else.
Oh, gosh.
That's the reality we're moving towards.
It sounds terrifying, like something straight out of a dystopian novel.
It might sound far-fetched,
Okay.
but the technology to do this already exists.
Right.
Pegasus is just one example. What's truly concerning is the erosion of trust in digital technologies.
Yeah.
People are becoming increasingly aware that their data isn't as secure as they thought it was.
Knowing what I know now, I'm definitely thinking twice about what I do online.
Right.
That's a natural reaction, but it also has broader implications.
It does.
If people lose trust in digital technologies, they might be less likely to use them,
That's true.
especially for sensitive activities like online banking,
Right.
healthcare,
Right.
or even just expressing their opinions freely.
That's a good point.
So this erosion of trust could actually hinder innovation and progress.
It certainly has the potential. It could also widen the digital divide, as those already marginalized or lacking access to technology might be even more hesitant to engage in the digital world.
That's a sobering thought. Beyond the individual level,
Yeah.
what are the societal implications of this trend towards increased surveillance?
One of the most worrying consequences is the chilling effect on free speech.
Oh, really?
If you know you're being watched,
Right.
you might be less likely to speak your mind
Okay.
or engage in critical discussions, especially on sensitive topics.
So it's not just about our data being compromised, it's about our fundamental freedoms being eroded. It's like a digital version of Big Brother watching our every move and listening to our every word.
Precisely.
And this chilling effect can extend beyond individuals. It can impact journalists, activists,
Right.
and anyone who relies on digital communication to organize, share information, and hold those in power accountable.
Exactly.
So what can we do to push back against this trend? Where do we even begin?
Awareness is the first step.
Okay.
We need to understand the risks and implications of these technologies and start demanding greater transparency and accountability
Right.
from the companies that develop them
Right.
and the governments that use them.
So it's about making noise,
Right.
raising our voices, and letting those in power know that we're not okay with being constantly monitored.
Exactly.
We also need to support organizations that are fighting for digital privacy and security, like the Electronic Frontier Foundation and Access Now. They're doing incredible work to raise awareness, advocate for policy changes, and develop tools that help protect our digital rights.
It's important work.
What kind of policy changes or regulations could help address this issue?
There are several things that could be done.
Yeah.
One is to strengthen existing privacy laws.
Like what?
Like the General Data Protection Regulation in Europe.
Hmm.
These laws give individuals more control over their data and limit how companies can collect and use it.
Okay.
We also need to close legal loopholes that allow governments to engage in mass surveillance without proper oversight or accountability.
That sounds like a tall order.
It is.
Especially when you consider how powerful some of these tech companies and governments are.
It won't be easy.
Right.
However, there have been some positive developments internationally.
Like what?
The United Nations has appointed a special rapporteur on the right to privacy, and there have been discussions about creating international norms and standards for the use of surveillance technologies.
That's encouraging.
Yeah.
It sounds like there's a long road ahead, though.
It is a long road.
This has been a lot to digest.
It has.
Before we move on to what we can do to protect ourselves,
Okay.
is there anything else you think our listeners should know about the wider issue of digital surveillance?
It's important to remember that this issue is not just about protecting our personal data.
Okay.
It's about protecting our democracy and ensuring that everyone has the right to speak freely and challenge authority without fear of retribution.
That's a good point.
This conversation goes far beyond the technical details of spyware. It touches upon fundamental questions of power, justice, and freedom in the digital age.
That's a powerful point. This isn't just a technical issue.
No.
It's a political one.
Right.
We need to be having these conversations not just in academic circles or among tech experts, but in our communities, in our homes, and with our elected officials.
Absolutely.
The digital world we're building needs to reflect the values we want to see in the real world. A world where privacy and security are not seen as mutually exclusive, but as essential components of a just and equitable society.
Exactly.
Couldn't agree more. Okay, let's shift gears a bit and talk about what we can do on a personal level to protect ourselves from threats like Pegasus.
Sure.
Besides updating our software and using strong passwords, what practical steps can we take?
Well, one simple step is being mindful of the information you share online.
Okay.
Think before you post anything and ask yourself, do I really need to share this publicly? You'd be surprised how much control you have over your digital footprint.
So it's about being more intentional with what we share online.
Yeah.
What about all the apps we use?
Yeah.
They always want access to our contacts, location, camera, and microphone.
It's true. And many of those apps don't really need all that information to function properly.
Right.
Don't be afraid to say no. When an app asks for permissions, it doesn't need.
I'm definitely guilty of just clicking allow without thinking about it.
I think we all are.
It feels like we're constantly giving away our data.
We are.
And that's why it's important to be more aware.
Exactly.
Okay.
You can adjust your privacy settings on social media and other online services. Many platforms allow you to control who sees your posts. Limit data collection.
Okay.
And even delete your account if you want to.
It's amazing how many people just accept the default settings without exploring the options.
Yeah, it is.
Are there any other practical steps we can take?
Think about the apps you use.
Okay.
And whether there are alternatives focused on privacy, for example.
Yeah.
Instead of using a mapping app that tracks your every move, you could try an open source map app that doesn't collect your data.
Good point. Sometimes we just go with what's familiar without thinking about the privacy implications.
We do.
Anything else?
Regularly review your online accounts.
Yeah. Okay.
And delete any you no longer use. The fewer digital breadcrumbs you leave behind, the better.
It's like a digital decluttering exercise.
Yeah.
Getting rid of all the digital baggage we've accumulated over the years.
Exactly.
And just like decluttering your physical space can make you feel lighter.
Right.
Decluttering your digital life can make you feel more secure and in control.
I agree.
So much of this comes down to awareness and taking those small steps to reclaim control over our digital lives.
Right.
But it's also about pushing for larger changes, right?
Yes.
Like stronger privacy laws and holding these tech companies accountable.
You're absolutely right. Individual actions are important.
Okay.
But we need systemic change.
Right.
We need a digital world that respects our fundamental rights and freedoms, where privacy and security are not seen as mutually exclusive, but as essential components of a just and equitable society.
That's a great point. We can't just rely on ourselves to fix this.
We can't.
We need to be engaged citizens, demanding better from our governments and the tech companies that shape the digital landscape.
Exactly. Talking to your friends and family about these issues, supporting organizations, fighting for digital rights.
Okay.
And demanding better from elected officials
Yeah.
are all steps in the right direction.
It all comes back to that idea of reclaiming our digital agency. We have a choice in how we engage with technology.
We do.
And the power to demand better.
I love that, reclaiming our digital agency.
Yeah.
It's the perfect way to sum up what we've been talking about today.
Well, on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive into Pegasus Spyware.
Yeah.
This has been an eye-opening conversation.
It has.
And while it can be daunting to confront these digital threats, remember, you are not powerless.
Right.
Take what you've learned today, start small, and know that even small actions can contribute to building a more secure and equitable digital world.
Absolutely.
Until next time, stay safe and stay curious.